Standing on the deck of a ship, the salty Atlantic wind slapping against your face, your eyes fixed on a distant horizon where no European map dares to guide you. Imagine believing, as most of your world still does, that these new lands across the ocean are merely extensions of Asia, mysterious but familiar in the great geography of the world. Now imagine being the one to say aloud, with conviction, that this is not Asia at all, that these are new lands, an entire world unknown to Europe. That voice belonged to Amerigo Vespucci, a Florentine explorer whose name would echo through history not because he conquered kingdoms or commanded great fleets, but because he recognized what others failed to see. It was Vespucci who helped Europe realize that Christopher Columbus had not found a shortcut to Asia, but instead had stumbled upon vast new continents, the Americas. This is the life story of Amerigo Vespucci, a man of intellect, ambition, and relentless curiosity, who journeyed from the banking halls of Florence to the uncharted coasts of South America. His voyages, letters, and maps would inspire generations of explorers and forever link his name to the New World. Amerigo Vespucci was born on March 9, 1454, in Florence, Italy, a city teeming with art, trade, and the hum of Renaissance brilliance. Florence was not a port city, but it was a place where ideas and ambitions flourished, and Amerigo grew up surrounded by the energy of progress. He was the third son of Nastagio Vespucci, a respected notary, and Lisabetta Mini. The Vespucci family was modestly wealthy, but Amerigo's true fortune lay in his connections. His family was closely tied to the powerful Medici family, the patrons who shaped Florence's Renaissance. From a young age, Amerigo showed a fascination for books and maps. He studied astronomy, geography, and Latin under his uncle, Giorgio Antonio Vespucci, a Dominican friar and a learned scholar. These early lessons in navigation, mathematics, and philosophy planted the seeds of curiosity that would one day take him across oceans. As a young man, Amerigo entered the world of commerce, working for the powerful Medici family. He traveled as a representative to Seville, Spain, managing business affairs for Lorenzo di Pierfrancesco de' Medici. In Seville, Amerigo was immersed in a city alive with maritime energy. Ships sailed in and out daily, bringing spices, gold, and rumors of distant lands. This was the era of great discoveries. In 1492, Christopher Columbus returned from his first voyage, proclaiming he had reached the Indies. Seville was at the heart of Spain's exploration enterprise, and Amerigo found himself drawn deeper into this world of sailors, shipbuilders, and adventurers. Though he was trained as a merchant, Vespucci soon transitioned into navigation. He studied the stars, the mechanics of ships, and the art of cartography. His sharp intellect and merchant's practicality made him an ideal candidate to join voyages of discovery. By the late 1490s, Vespucci was connected with Spanish expeditions sailing westward. The exact details of his early voyages are debated by historians, but evidence suggests that he first set sail around 1497, possibly even before Columbus's third voyage. In one account, Amerigo described sailing along the northern coast of South America, witnessing vast rivers like the Orinoco, and meeting indigenous peoples whose cultures were unlike anything known in Europe. Whether this 1497 voyage was real or later exaggerated remains uncertain, but what is clear is that by the turn of the century, Amerigo was firmly entrenched in the world of exploration. The voyages that secured Amerigo Vespucci's place in history took place between 1499 and 1502. Sailing under both Spanish and Portuguese flags, Vespucci explored the coastlines of South America in greater detail than any European before him. In 1499, he joined an expedition led by Alonso de Ojeda, a Spanish explorer. Sailing along the northern coast of South America, Vespucci observed not just the geography, but the people, plants, and animals with a meticulous eye. He described villages built on stilts in the water, possibly inspiring the name Venezuela, meaning Little Venice. A later voyage under the Portuguese crown in 1501-1502 proved even more significant. Vespucci and his companions sailed far down the coast of South America, reaching regions that today belong to Brazil. It was during this journey that Vespucci became convinced these were not the outskirts of Asia, but a mundus novus, a new world. In a letter to his patron, Vespucci wrote with excitement, "I have discovered a continent in those southern regions that is inhabited by more numerous people and animals than our Europe, or Asia, or Africa." This statement was revolutionary. Columbus had died still believing he had reached islands off the coast of Asia, but Vespucci boldly declared that these lands were something else entirely, an entirely new continent. His observations spread quickly across Europe. Letters attributed to him were published in multiple languages, igniting imaginations and debates among scholars, merchants, and monarchs. For the first time, Europeans began to think of the Americas not as extensions of Asia, but as a new world in their own right. In 1507, the German cartographer Martin Waldseemüller published a world map unlike any seen before. On it, he depicted the new continents across the Atlantic and labeled them America, after Amerigo Vespucci, whom he credited with recognizing them as new lands. Waldseemüller explained his reasoning. "I do not see why anyone should justly object to calling this part, after Americus who discovered it, a man of great ability, America, since both Europe and Asia have received women's names." The name stuck. Though Waldseemüller later tried to retract it, the momentum was unstoppable. The continents of the New World would forever bear Vespucci's name. By the early 1500s, Vespucci had settled in Seville, where his reputation as a skilled navigator earned him the trust of the Spanish crown. In 1508, he was appointed chief navigator of Spain, a position of great importance. His duties included training pilots, standardizing navigation methods, and overseeing the preparation of maps and charts. Amerigo was no longer sailing to distant lands himself, but his expertise shaped Spain's exploration efforts. His career, once rooted in banking, had transformed into one that guided the course of global discovery. In 1512, Amerigo Vespucci fell ill. On February 22, 1512, he died in Seville at the age of 57. His widow, Maria Cerezo, inherited his estate. Though he passed quietly, his name was already immortalized on maps spreading across Europe. Amerigo Vespucci's legacy rests not on conquest or empire, but on recognition, on seeing clearly what others had missed. His letters and voyages provided the evidence that reshaped the world's geography. His name, etched into maps, became synonymous with two vast continents that would dominate the coming centuries of history. Columbus opened the door, but Vespucci named the house. His legacy reminds us that discovery is not only about arriving, but about understanding what has been found. Facts about Amerigo. Vespucci. Amerigo. Vespucci was born in Florence, the same city that produced Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo. He worked for the powerful Medici family before becoming an explorer. His first voyages may have occurred before Columbus's third journey. He coined the term mundus novus, New World, in his letters. The continents of North and South America are the only ones named after a person's first name. He described South American natives practicing communal living and unique cultural traditions. Vespucci observed constellations in the Southern Hemisphere, including the Southern Cross. He was appointed chief navigator of Spain, overseeing all navigation training. The famous 1507 Waldseemüller map first labeled the continents America. His last words reportedly reflected his faith as he died a respected man in Seville. Amerigo Vespucci's life was not that of a conqueror or a king, but of a thinker, observer, and trailblazer who helped humanity see the world as it truly was. His courage lay not in the clash of swords but in challenging assumptions, in daring to say that the lands across the ocean were not Asia, but something entirely new. His story reminds us that history is shaped not only by those who discover, but also by those who recognize, define, and share knowledge. Amerigo's name endures not because he claimed glory, but because he gave the world a new identity. The Americas stand as a living tribute to the man who looked at the horizon and saw more than just the edge of the map. He saw a new world,